Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We're in our 26th year bringing you great information. 1 hour of mortgage and real estate talk. Got a great show lined up for you. I'm Harvey Freed. He's Harry Glanz.
Good morning, Harvey. Good morning, everybody out there. A little bummed out about the Tigers last night.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. They still have some games to go. Maybe we're mathematically still in it. Just got to put together a hot streak. Going to have a good show today. But I want to give a shout out to Berkeley High. We had our little pre-reunion get together at Mr. Joe's in Southfield. Legendary Mr. Joe's,
Yes.
Michael Abrams.
Yes.
The owner of Mr. Joe's. He hosted everybody there. It's great to see everybody that you don't get to see on a regular basis. And it was just great. There's something about growing up with people that you could just walk right back in and pick up right where you left off. And it was great. So thank you. Thanks, Mr. Joe's. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, everybody that was there. And we'll see you tonight. But part of the community, Berkeley High, go Bears, and it was great to see everybody last night.
Love the community talk, too. Let's start off with our guest, of course. Lisa Lawson from the office joins us. Hey, Lisa, how are you?
Good morning, everybody.
You bring in this fine guest, Matt Bush, Remax Eclipse, of course, a broker over there. Matt, you've been a broker. You've been in real estate for several years now. Own some rental properties. We'll talk maybe a little bit about that market. We'll see what's going on there. And, of course, what's going on in today's real estate market all across Southeast Michigan. We'll touch on across the nation, too, since we lend in all 50 states. So we'll definitely go there. If you'd like to join the show, 248-539-9797. Matt, the market isn't frozen at all. It's definitely been changing. Where are we at here as we cruise into getting closer and closer to the fall season of home ownership?
Yeah, so this summer was especially busy, I feel. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know, it closed about 8 or 9 in July alone. Just so much going on. And
you're buying then. Okay, good.
No,
You're
both
buying.
sides. Yeah, both sides, definitely.
Both sides, yeah.
And then, August kind of tapers off. It's usually right after the July 4th holiday, just because, you want to be under contract to be in a house before
Have
you're
the
going back
kids,
to school, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like slowing a bit, but it's going to pick up here in probably late September, early October again. Those first-time home buyers are going to come out of the woodwork. They're going to find those houses, get those deals because kind of that off-market time. Interest rates a little bit higher, kind of all over the place with everything going on. So there's a lot of uncertainty. Jobs reports haven't always shook it out in the right way. So a lot of people on the sidelines waiting for the right time. And I think, we're going to see, that mid-October through the end of the year be pretty busy.
Yeah, we hate to say, everybody, that the summer's coming to an end, but Labor Day signifies that, right? So Labor Day's a little later this year, and the summer is coming to an end. All the good things have to come to an end. But in terms of the market, you're right. The purchase market has been very strong this summer. We've all been busy. We've had good Aprils, Mays, Junes, Julys. August is turning out to be really good. And the reason is as follows. People need to buy houses. We talk about rates all the time because that's what people really want to say. What are the rates? What are the rates? Highest mortgage rates in just, they're approaching 7%, everybody. They're still under 7%, but they're approaching 7%. But that it will not curtail purchase activity because people need to live in houses. Back in the mid-'80s, rates were at 18%, right?
Yeah.
81, 82, 83, 84. They were high. People were buying houses. Now, granted, different times, different measures. There are more programs. Lisa is the queen of mortgage programs. There are mortgage programs more now than ever before to get people in the houses. So what we're seeing is, I believe, in our area, a lack of inventory. There's still way many buyers than there are houses on the market. And every house, Lisa, that's going on the market, and Matt, this being a realtor, is getting snapped up within a week in a lot of areas, right?
The ones that are, that are priced properly, absolutely, and in good condition, 100%.
Yeah, I would agree. I think there's like the tail end of sellers thinking that it's 2021, and then they're wondering, after 2 weekends, why it's still on the market. I'm going in with presentations of these are the metrics. If we go too high, it's going to sit, and then we're going to settle lower than this number. So we've got to really do our diligence, figure out what our neighbors' houses for sale, right? If there's 2 houses in the same neighborhood that are for sale, if you don't look better than, you have to, price accordingly.
Price underneath,
right? You got to
right.
make sure that, hey, if you're a first-time home buyer with 3.5% down, whether at like 200 versus like 190, the difference is a few $100s at the closing table, right? And oftentimes you can maybe even get the less updated house to kick you back some closing closing costs versus the one that's all updated is going to have a bidding war, and it's going to settle in the 210s, 215s. That 190 might settle in the 185 with seller concessions. So you've really got to price it right. You have to be honest with your clients. You can't just walk into a listing presentation, tell them, sure, I'll do whatever number you want, and then it's on the market for 60, 90 days, and then you're kind of stuck
not moving.
there.
I'm telling buyers now, this is a chance to win. Don't get off the market right now. I had one gentleman who was like, I'm not sure. Do I need to save more money? Maybe I'll wait till next spring. Well, next spring, you're going to see that 5% appreciation kick in. But buyers have some negotiating power. Now, let's just go there with it. Those are the stories of the last couple weeks and heading into the fall. More inventories available. What does that mean? Price reductions maybe on some of these. Homes are sitting longer, so they'll get some cold feet. Maybe that opportunity to negotiate a little bit lower or some seller's concessions. Maybe that house isn't perfect lease. Seller's concessions are a win-win in every purchase.
But only if the house is on the market for a long time.
Correct. You're not getting them if it's priced properly.
Right.
You'll still have homes go on the market and get under contract with a handful of days when they are priced to sell. Not, I'm going to ask for top dollar. Right here might be the range.
And see what happens.
Like Matt might sit down with you and say, "Hey, we really need to price this at $250," and you say, "You know what? I really want to get let's put it on for $269,900." Okay, so you're already 20,000 over where we already know that sweet point is. That's those kind of homes that sit there, and you might get a lot of looky-loos, and you'll have somebody come in like 2-3 weeks and give you an offer probably at $250,000, and then you're like, "Well, that's my first offer." Well, that's because that's what the market is dictating. You know what I mean? It's not the market from 3 years ago when that house was for $250,000 and it was going to sell for $270,000, $280,000 because there were just such a severe lack of inventory.
Yeah.
I'm going to say we're becoming fairly balanced with the inventory. We might have a lack of what we call turnkey homes that you can really move into, homes that are priced properly. I definitely think that, those are still a little more rare at the moment because everybody wants top dollar. They kind of still have that mentality from 3-4 years ago, which we need to forget about.
Yeah.
Just like the rates. Everyone's like, I want a lower rate. Rates are over history. Our rates are not bad. They're really, really good right now. You're missing out on opportunities. I can't even tell you how many people in the mid fives said, I'm going to wait till they get dropped again. Well, now this is 3 years later. You're going to pay more. So, the time to buy a house is when you need a house.
When you can afford it, when it fits in, it checks most of your boxes. But man, let me ask you this: if you put a house, and is it still this way? And I have some people that are telling me it is. If the house is priced right and they list it on a Thursday, which is the favorite listing day, list it on a Thursday. The showings, the open houses come. The open house will be on a Saturday or Sunday, and if it's priced right, you're going to get some offers over the weekend, right? Because it's new.
Absolutely.
If it's priced right, if it's not, you won't. And that's what the market is telling everybody out there. Right. These houses, there are people out there willing to buy at the right price. So when we say the market dictates the price, when you list your house with Matt Bush, he puts it in the multi-list. He's going to hold the open house. You're going to have people walk through there that first weekend. If it's priced right, you're going to get offers, multiple offers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because and if you think about it, if your house is up for sale, right, there's probably some other houses in your neighborhood for sale. So I'm not just taking the buyer to that one house. We're going to go see the 3 to 4 houses in the neighborhood that are for sale, and we're going to have a conversation. Which one was best? Which one's best for us? Which one's going to be easiest to move into and all those things? There's other terms involved, possession, et cetera. And if it's going to take us, $20,000 after we take possession to make the house livable, I'd rather just finance that at, 3.5% to 5%. And now I'm into a house for roughly the same cost, and I don't have to, repaint the whole place, put flooring down everywhere, redo the kitchen. There's still I moved in here 5 years ago. The market's gone up. I've done nothing. So let's just put it to what my neighbor sold for last year. And, those agents, they're kind of doing a disservice to their clients because, again, you tell a client, hey, it's worth $230,000. Well, let's put it at $250,000. And then you wait 2 months and then it sells at $225,000 because people say it's been on the market for 60 days. Something's got to be wrong with it. And then they go into it and then, okay, well, it's been on the market 60 days. Let's throw them something. And, if they've got nothing in the meantime, then, that's they're claiming for something and they jump at it.
And they have apprehension. When people see property sit on the market that long, the majority of everybody jumps to is what happened. What's gone on? Like, there's got to be something wrong with it, and that's just everybody's gut instinct. And so everybody, you want to talk about getting a nitpicky inspection and nitpicky this, and they're going to I don't want to say pull that apart, but they're more apt to really get into those types of details when the property's been sitting on the market for like 2-3 months, versus the property's been on the market for, priced properly and been on the market for a few days and they have multiple offers. You might get I just need a pass fail private inspection. You know what I mean? Because that's part of winning the bid versus something that's been on there for 60 days. I hate to say it. It's not going to probably be as pretty.
Well, nationally, buyers now have more leverage in 41 of the 50 largest U.S. housing markets right now. Everything's all
like
different.
I said, it's starting to balance.
Yeah. We've definitely seen some of that. Seller paid closing costs, as we talked about, rate buy downs, repair credits. Maybe they throw in a home warranty. Look, sure enough, clients purchasing a house home inspection couldn't even get the sewer line down there because it was all clogged up. So obviously accepted purchase agreement. We go back to the sellers this week. Hey, can you guys get that all cleaned out so we can complete our sewer line inspection? We're going to have some concessions built in. And again, there's always some negotiations in there. Don't put down your arms. Definitely do the due diligence. Get that home inspection, the well and septic reports. All these things are extremely important. You're the ones negotiating on. Again, if you don't do the proper inspections, you're not really sure what you're buying. You got to sign on the dotted line.
Yeah, and that $300 inspection is going to be the best, insurance policy you'll ever spend, right? Plus, then if you do a very thorough inspection, it's going to be $300 to $500, especially if you're doing a sewer scope. You might do a radon depending on where you're at. Especially if you're out in the country or near the water, you might want to do that on. But also, moving forward, you're going to have this 70, 80 page report to where you can kind of refer back in 3 years, 5 years. Hey, this is the work that the inspector said we needed to do. I'm going to bring on a contractor. Hey, let's talk about this project. That home inspection, when it's very thorough, it's going to set you up for success long term in that home. And honestly, you typically know more about the home than the seller does because, they've lived there for 30 years, but have they really been keeping up with everything? Have they run everything up? Have they done a sewer scope? Have they checked out the chimney? When was the last time they were on the roof cleaning out the gutters? So you are in such a strong position with that thorough inspection.
Man, I'm glad you went there. More knowledge is always better. I mean, you're driving around a neighborhood, you might be interested and you see all these pipes sticking out of the house. That could be a radon gas neighborhood. Again, not the worst thing. Doesn't mean you can't buy that house. You get the machine in there that sucks all that radon gas out of there. And now, sure enough, you got a great house. So do the right things. Always educate yourself. When we come back, we'll talk about negotiation and whatever else Matt has on the table for you. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. 248-539-9797. We'll be back. Welcome back to the show. Give you 45 minutes more of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We'll take your calls at 248-539-9797. Matt Bush joins us, RE/MAX Eclipse. Of course, we are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding at 1-800-LOW-RATE, powered by CMG Home Loans, NMLS 1820, equal housing lender. We're always talking about negotiations on housing because that's where all the fun stuff is, Matt. And we talk about when you're hiring somebody, Matt, like, where is their experience in negotiation? How is that callback? There's some of the great agents that have come on over the years always discuss like that basic stuff, that the top 5 or 10%, Lisa, as we know, they're constantly communicating with you, and communication is the key. If they're not calling you back quickly, or their lender, how is that negotiation going to go down with the listing agent when they make your offer?
Yeah, so communication's so key because both parties, be it the seller or the buyer, they're all on pins and needles, right?
Yeah.
You don't buy or sell a house, but maybe 4 or 5 times in your life. So when you're going through that process, you're the seller, you're just kind of like fingers crossed that everything goes right. And you're feeling the same way if you're the buyer, fingers crossed. I hope. So that communication between buyer and seller agent, the buyer's agent is going to communicate with the seller's agent to keep giving feedback to the seller. Hey, this is what's going on. This is what we're running into, all that yada, yada, yada. We're keeping things timely. We're setting the right expectations. We're following through. And then back to your buyer, you're setting, hey, these are the timelines that we need to hit these marks. Make sure you're communicating with your lender. And also, again, keeping the seller's agent abreast to, hey, we just crossed this, we just did this, right? Because there's so many contingencies in the purchase agreement. The seller wants to know that we're hitting them, but they've got to tell the seller's agent, hey, we did the appraisal today. We're removing our inspection contingency today.
Right on.
Removing the financing contingency today. So, and that's all good news to the seller. But like when you don't have that communication, when you don't have that rapport, maybe it's an agent who doesn't do a lot of business, so they don't know that you need to either have these communications proactively or expect them. Then you go back and you have an ask, like you were talking sewer line. Hey, go clean that sewer line. If the first thing you have is, hey, this is the offer, it's accepted, and then go clean the sewer line, there's no interaction between. You're just like blowing somebody up with a demand out of nowhere. They didn't know this was even to come out. So having that warm relationship, that professionalism, that where you're always kind of keeping all parties kind of on the same page to where they know what the next thing is. They're checking boxes to where they know that the transaction's going smoothly.
And Matt, there are a lot of people out there that go out and they have a realtor and they're out there looking. And the frustration level when they put in 2 or 3 or 4 offers that don't get accepted. So the frustration level is often very, very high, right? They put in offers, didn't get accepted. Another offer didn't get accepted. This is going on right now as we talk. Offers are being presented, 3 or 4 of them, and you don't get it. What do you do with your client that's been out with you for the last 2, 3, 4 months? You haven't been able to find a house that got accepted. You've put in a lot of offers, but nothing is getting accepted. And these people are so frustrated. They're calling us. They're calling, what do we do? What do we do? How do you help them go ahead and calm those frustrations by saying, just, we got to keep going? What do you do?
Yeah. Honestly, I tell people real estate is more elimination than it is selection, because you're going to see dozens of houses. And yeah, you can pick this one or pick this one, but it's better to eliminate what's not for you than always to pick what is for you, because that's going to better lead you to the end goal. There have been so many times where someone didn't get an offer accepted that they were heartbroken on, that the deal that was accepted fell through and we were the first call.
There you go.
So
Sometimes
that
happens,
goes back to the communication port, right? Doing 30, 40, 50 deals a year, I'm running into these agents that are lister agents, and they know that I'm going to bring a qualified buyer and a qualified lender. That's why Lisa's calling every time we write an offer and submit something. I'm reaching out to the listing agent saying, hey, this is my buyer. We're ready to go. My lender's about to call you, and we're all on the same page and we're ready to go. So when that one agent that does like 3 deals a year, if that, everything falls apart at inspection because they can't manage the right expectation. They were going to fall in love with the house, not to fall in love with the lifestyle. Falls apart during inspection. We're the first phone call. Things come right back. There are other times where, we get the offer accepted and it's just like, it just blows up during inspection. Actually happened to one of these shows one time.
Yeah.
And then we found a house that was so much better, and we just say, isn't it so great how the universe works that we found this house, we thought we loved it, it ended up being a nightmare, and then this other house just fell into our lap, and this is so much better. Now we don't have to do any work. We got to have the seller painted it for us. Everything was done, and we just moved right in, as opposed to buying a house, doing $50,000 in renos. And
I'm trying to,
stuff.
let me put myself into a listing agent shoes for a quick minute here. I'm trying to figure out if I was a listing agent and I was representing the sellers, do I want them to do that pre-home inspection? I think you don't.
No.
Because it's more money out of pocket. But here I am with, they've got an accepted offer, and now we're back trying to communicate this. Hey, man, I couldn't even do a sewer line inspection. You got a tree. You got a whole tree through the sewer line. You know, this is why the due diligence is so important, Matt. Again, some agents want to go ahead and have that house all dressed up, stage it, have the home inspection done, preliminary home inspection done, so that when you finally do get a buyer, an inspector doesn't put a light in the attic and say, wait a minute here, you got a bunch of black mold up here.
Yeah, I mean,
where do you
maybe
want to
different
go with
times.
this?
Maybe different times. Like maybe when houses weren't selling as fast, you want to do the pre-inspection. That way, you can just offer with the seller's disclosure. Here's the inspection. That way you can review it. Here's the person that did it. I just feel like that's putting more. I don't want to say burden on the seller, but I mean, if I have a deal that I feel I get a bad inspection report, I've got a couple of good inspectors. I can say, hey, I just got this inspection report from this buyer. Kind of give it a look over. Let me know what you see. Because just like contractors, inspectors, you get 3 inspectors are going to give you 3 different opinions, right? So, at the end of the day, if my inspector says one thing and the buyer's inspector says another thing, the buyer isn't going to say, oh, well, the listing agent's inspector said that, so I'm going to ignore the person that I just built rapport with over the
I
last.
think people know when they're selling a house what's wrong with their house. I really do, unless it's a major foundation crack that they can't see,
or something you don't see and deal with
right,
every day, like their
something in the
chimney.
attic.
Like I'm not checking my chimney every day.
We're not going in the attic.
Right.
I think I've been in my attic one time in 30-some years.
Yeah, you don't know
I
what's
have
up there.
never been in my attic
I don't
in
know
20 years.
I don't
Never
know what's
not once.
going on up there.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I want to know what's going on up there. But what I'm saying is that I don't believe that. I don't believe that people don't know what's going on in their house. I believe that they do. I really do. So when you're selling a house, you know what you're selling. And if there's a major catastrophe going on, foundation crack, bats in the attic, right, black mold, you want to have that checked out. I'm the kind of guy, I would get that pre-inspection.
Look, they're not.
I would get that guy.
Yeah.
If I'm selling a house, I want to know, are there any hidden ball tricks? Because I don't want anything to flip upside down, and I'll pay the $300 or $350 or $400 because I want to know. But that's just me.
And
I don't want. I'm not a surprise party. I do not want a surprise party.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Again, these things can be rectified. They can be fixed. Who's going to pay for them? Again, if you're on a budget, you can maybe reach out to the seller. And we talk about these negotiations, all the fun stuff about purchasing a house. Let's go that way. Lisa, the fun stuff is becoming a homeowner.
Yeah.
Again, had so many buyers this year. This summer, as Matt said, he was real busy. I was busy with the age about 24, 23, all the way to about 35 and 40-year-olds. So a lot of first-time home buyers. At least we know that the down payment assistance programs, we offer them all. They're out there. It's really easy to get into a house nowadays. At least let's just drop a little bit of information about these programs.
Yeah, there's so many programs, more now than there's ever been. And there's programs that are income based, meaning you have a limit on how much money you can make, but there's also down payment assistance programs that it does not matter how much you make.
Right.
So there's going to be something for everybody. There's ones that are specific to locales, like the city of Port Huron has one. There's all these different ones, but you have to deal with someone who knows about all these programs. When I say there's literally hundreds, I'm not exaggerating. So, not every first-time home buyer or down payment assistance program is a fit for every single person, and there's a lot of different reasons why. But MSHDA is always one of my go-tos and favorites, and everyone thinks that MSHDA in itself is a loan, but MSHDA piggybacks with either conventional, USDA loan, you can get an FHA loan, and even a VA loan. No assistance with the VA. You just get the beautiful interest rate of 5.75% with MSHDA. But there's reasons to look into all of them. Often when I do my pre-approvals, you'll hear me tell my clients, and I'm no Harvey's heard me say this. He goes, so when am I getting my pre-approval, singular? And I said, well, you're going to get all your approvals because I'm going to approve you for every loan that you qualify for. Then I'm going to give you an example cost estimate. I'm going to tell you what I'm using for taxes and insurance, but this way you can see the differences in how these programs, will influence possibly your rate, your money to closing, everything else. So, and I want people to be educated so they can make the right decision for them. And that doesn't mean that when we go into a transaction, we might have an idea that we want to go conventional MSHDA, right? With no down payment assistance. But all of a sudden you find something and the house has a little bit higher tax bracket than you thought, or property taxes, and you'd rather hold on to a little bit more of your money. So all of a sudden we're pivoting to down payment assistance so you can keep more money in your pocket. You have to be able to be a little bit flexible so you can meet the needs of your buyer who's obviously buying the house, and sometimes of the property itself.
So if this sounds like we're talking a foreign language here,
Sorry,
it's
am I?
No, no, no. It's
because we are.
It's because
Right.
it's because we are.
Yeah.
And all we're telling everybody out there listening is that there are so many options for you,
Yeah.
and we will disclose, keyword in the sentence, disclose every single one, every single cost, way up front. So again, no surprise party at the end. And if you don't get that out there, no matter who you go to, you could have the
Right.
best relationship with somebody, and if they're not disclosing every option to you, you could be leaving a lot of money
Yeah.
on the table. Or you could be paying too much. You could be giving too much of a down payment
Perfect
that you might
example.
not be able to, right? That you don't need to.
Yeah.
And we'll disclose everything up front, and we know all of the programs out
Right.
there. The key thing is we'll save you money and we'll save you time.
I think people get stuck in a rut, and even in your other people when they work, right? They do the same thing over and over again, and then they kind of forget there's other things out there. I just had somebody the other day. I live in Macomb. I'm in the North Macomb County, and where I live, a lot of my county is USDA eligible, and people forget that USDA exists. So I have somebody who's really, they're on a very fixed income. There's nothing about it. They do not work. They're on disability, and so they don't have an option just to like make more money or come up with more money. And I said, well, the way you're USDA eligible, why aren't we looking at this by going MSHDA with the USDA loan with down payment assistance? And they were like, I was like the seventh person they spoke with, and no one once mentioned it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, USDA is 100% financing. MSHDA is going to cover all of your costs. I mean, this is like a no-brainer to me.
So, Lisa, on that one, they come up with 1% of their own funds.
In the case of USDA, you do not, because USDA is 100% financing. So
So
yes.
you don't even need the MSHDA 1% that's
No.
required of the purchase price.
No. But
That
you're going to
doesn't
have to
cost
get
you
some.
any money.
Somebody's going to need some earnest money deposit, right? Sellers aren't really accepting offers without earnest money, but
All
that's
right.
what they'll have to come up with.
We're
And
up
they have
ag-
a little bit. They can do that. But yeah, that's it.
We're up against a quick break here. 8:27.
That was
If you
quick.
just joined us, Metro Detroit Market Update. When we come back, keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket, 248-539-9797. We'll take your calls. All righty, welcome back to the show. 8:30. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Show in our 26 years. Always giving you great information about mortgages and real estate. A lot of your folks are out there listening to the show. And years ago, and it's starting to come back because it's a great thing to do for your kids, is direct them to us. And you can check us out on Facebook and all that and watch our show. But it costs you nothing to call our office at 1-800-LOW-RATE and discuss all these programs. We do. It's always free to be approved. Not just even pre-approved. Pre-approved, maybe you haven't found the house. That's where the pre comes in because they haven't ran the title insurance lease. They haven't done the appraisal. But you're approved with confidence. You know what your numbers are going to look like.
Yeah.
And this is the old-fashioned lending that I like to do. And I had a few calls this week. Harry gave me a number. Gentleman called who's been listening to the show. And that's how we made successful home ownership for so many families.
Nothing makes me happier when I have a call and they said, I'm interested in getting pre-approved. We run all the numbers and they call me back and they said, we're going to wait till next year. I'm just not comfortable. I'd want to have a little bit of a nest egg. I don't want to have to spend every dime and end up with nothing, but I'll spend this year's savings, so I'll be ready next year.
Perfect.
And then we keep in touch. I am like, awesome. And they're like, and they'll say, how much do I owe you? Nothing. This is what we do.
Yeah.
If we go through this whole process and it comes to the realization you're not quite ready and you want to rent another year, that doesn't make me anything less happy than if we were closing tomorrow. Because having an educated consumer when they're buying a house, I would much rather you spend this year saving, getting your ducks in a row, doing a little bit more education for yourself, keeping an eye on the market because over the year, and then call me in 8 months and say, okay, I'm ready. My lease is going to be up and I want to give myself plenty of time to look. That makes me happy. You're never going to hurt my feelings.
And you guys have that down payment helping fund too, don't you?
Yep.
So you can set them up with mom, dad, birthdays, anniversaries. Hey, direct money into this home fund. I'm going to end up using it for,
it's called Home Fund It.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know. I'm going to be on this
He's
side.
not the lender. It's okay. I should have jumped
on
in.
this side of the
But
table.
I had a super sharp guy call me, I think it was Thursday or Wednesday. And he said, Harvey, I don't want to rent. I don't want to throw that. It's either $2,000 or $2,500. Boy,
Wow.
that's $2,000. It's $24,000. By waiting 1 year, you just threw away, only to find out that next year the house price went up 4 to 5% is what we're getting here all across Southeast Michigan. All right, we got some data here. Metro Detroit home sales. July reported home sales declined 9.3%. Boy, Matt, we're all busy here, yet the numbers are a little bit slower than they were last year. It's almost down 10%. The medium sales price across Southeast Michigan, well, it was $238.81. So that's still on the lower side. Nationally, of course, the number's a little bit higher.
Yeah, and I mean, it depends on how you parse things out, right? Because that's going to include, the smaller houses in the city versus the big houses.
Yeah.
I think you guys see it. Like
All it means is that somebody bought really low last year and those houses went. Now they're not available, so there aren't as many houses left.
Right.
I mean, we see it all the time. The houses out in like the Oakland Township, the Macomb Township, those houses aren't coming down in price. Those are just getting bigger and
So,
both
Matt,
size-wise.
At the break, I asked you a question. I said, so what area are you special at? What do you see going on in your market area? Where is your market area? Where do you see the pockets that are hot? And you gave me the best answer I could ever hear. So where is it?
Hazel Park and Oak Park right now on the east side, or on the west side, rather. And then, Roseville's kind of having a big expansion, up and down Gratiot corridors. That's kind of turning over too. So there's a lot of different unique places that,
Kind of everywhere.
Exactly. But it's all focused on, first-time home buyers, right? I don't think you're going to be trading from Rochester down into Hazel Park, right? But if you were thinking, hey, I'm going to go live in Ferndale, you might drive a few blocks west and be in Hazel Park and you're still doing all the Ferndale amenities. You might go to Oak Park and do all the same Royal Oak, Ferndale amenities. It's all about being close to the things that you want to do.
And have a sales price that's a little bit more competitive in those up-and-coming markets.
And the monthly payment that's more competitive.
Correct.
Like to Lisa's point about, getting pre-approved, and your point, maybe now is not the time to get approved, but now is the time to learn about what it takes to get approved, pay down some of those debts, work on the credit, get a secure loan for 6 to 8 months to where, that's going to help increase my credit worthiness. So in 12 months, when I'm ready to make that commitment, then I'm approved. Then I'm getting a better interest rate, getting all the benefits because now I can qualify for those things that I otherwise couldn't. I didn't know that because I just thought it's press button, get mortgage, right?
Or people say they may have a great credit score and they don't understand why they can't get in for 3% down. You can have a very great credit score, but if we have what you call thin credit, where you only have like one trade line and you made 8 payments, and yes, you made them all on time, and there's very little debt versus maybe what your limit is, you're still not going to get approved because there's no true history there. So the score is only one part of a huge puzzle. In the systems and the underwriting engines and physical underwriters that look at these files, obviously more sophisticated. They're going to be like, great, you made 6 payments on time on a credit card you opened 6 months ago, but you don't have a car payment. You don't have any other history. You've lived with mom and dad or whatever your situation is. That is not going to be an easy loan to close, even if the score says it's 800, because that's just one tiny piece of the puzzle. So these are the nuances that people need to understand and what we do as experts here in the field.
All right, we're going to our first caller this morning. Hey, Pete, you're calling in. I'm not sure, on a cell phone. Good morning, Pete. What's your question?
Hey, good morning. Yeah, I'm actually driving right now, so forgive me.
That's okay. Be careful.
Thank you. I'm selling my house right now. It's been on the market about 2 months.
Ooh.
It's the very southern part of Madison Heights, northern part of Hazel Park.
That's a great area.
It's a fantastic area, and circumstances. I actually had to move in to my mother's home in Troy. She's elderly. The house is too big, so I'm moving in as a caretaker to help her. Otherwise, I wouldn't have moved out of this house. It's a beautiful home. It's got every upgrade that you can think of. The new roof, the insulation blown, everything has been redone. I lived there for 18 years. Low taxes, which is nice there. So the house has been up for 2 months, and my realtor, she's fantastic. We've had maybe 30 viewings.
That's a lot.
Multiple viewings coming in, three times. Still no offers.
So that's
What's
a perfect.
what's
what
the
kind of feedback
here?
are you getting?
Well, it's price, I think. I had it listed at about 183, and we just dropped it down about 10 grand last week. It's about 173.
I'm confused.
How many bedrooms
I'm
and what square
confused.
footage? This is like a 2-bedroom smaller home, maybe?
Yeah, it's a 2-bedroom, living room, 1 bathroom.
See how I knew that?
Yeah, it's one of those typical
No basement.
houses, crawl space.
Yep. Okay.
It does have the detached garage with an overhang on it.
Yep.
Sounds good.
It's almost like a carport.
All the landscaping. I mean, I put my hands all over this house. It's a beautiful
It's
house.
a cute house for the money. It's hard to find something nice that's well kept for under 200, Harry.
Yeah, but I would take a look, and Matt will probably tell you he's better at this. He would tell you got to take a look at what is sold comparable to your home.
Yeah,
I mean,
on a
it's
crawl space, on a
crawl space,
2-bedroom.
2-bedroom
Right.
with a carport. I mean, you really have to
Correct.
do the true comparable, because I'll bet those other homes that have sold for a lot higher have had more square footage, more bedrooms, bathrooms, etc. You really got
Or
to
an
take
attached, right?
you got to take a hard
Surprise.
look, because you're in a great area.
Yeah, Pete,
It's funny you say that, because some of the comparable houses, at least within the past year, have gone in that 175 to 185 range.
Right.
So
And that 10 grand makes a huge difference at that price point.
I got a buyer.
At the
for
listing
that.
price.
I got a buyer for
It does.
Pete.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, is it possible? Can I tell you the address over my
No,
phone?
No, you don't want to do that over the radio.
We'll,
do that.
we'll call you after the show.
Yeah.
Matt will
want
call
the
you
people
after
to
the
hear
show.
that.
We got
Yeah.
buyers. We got buyers that at
Yeah,
least we can maybe
yeah.
send them to you.
We'll
Yeah,
Fair
let
enough.
Matt call you
We'll
after the
redirect.
show, but
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we let him go.
we'll help
All
you
right,
out.
thanks for the call, Pete. No doubt. Hey, that was interesting call, because it's hard to find something that's really well kept for under 200 with some form of a garage. And again, I know it's a smaller
But there's a
house.
lot
Well, I
of
think he
butts
said he
in
had a
there.
detached
There's a lot of
garage,
butts,
too.
Harry.
Nice little
There's a
cute
lot of
house.
caveats in there.
I don't want to rent.
But if
Go on.
if you're renting that house, it's probably going to cost you $1,800 to $1,900
Right.
a month. The mortgage is going to be cheaper than your rent payment. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is a perfect example. Like, if you just
Build
want
your
to
own
get out
equity.
of mom's basement, or you don't want to live in an apartment with paper thin walls, like that's the kind of thing you do. That's what the 25, 26-year-old's doing, is just getting a foothold in there.
It's a cute house. Stop throwing your money away
But
and
here's the
renting. You
deal.
can own a piece of the pie. You
5
can dress
years,
it up.
5 years from now, that smart 25-year-old who bought that house because it was cheaper
Yeah.
than rent is then going to still sell it because it's still going to gain equity.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He's not throwing away his money on rent. Now he'll sell it, or even better yet, he'll turn
Rent
it
it
into a
out.
rental.
Yeah.
Because it's a perfect rental property.
there, right in
While
the heart
he
of
buys
it.
it. So, instead of wasting your money, you kind of, I hate to say think outside the box, but, that's exactly what these younger people should be doing. They shouldn't be worrying about rent. They should be looking at properties. Then you're not looking for your forever home. This is your first home. That's why we call it your first home. There's very, very few people, and I'm not saying it never happens, but very few people buy their first home and never move out. It's never their forever home. It's your stepping stone to get into your forever home.
And Smart Money tells you at median sales price in Metro Detroit,
Yeah.
6.7% increase from last year. So if that house
No brainer.
stop skipping over that house. again, next year it's probably going to be worth another 10, 20 grand. You got to be
Right.
You got to get your eyes opened up here and decide. I want to, when I reach out to Pete, we're going to circle back.
Yeah.
I guarantee more knowledge is going to help him.
Yeah, it sounds like it was listed a tiny bit high, especially like 30 showings over 2 months is and not having anything. And, your agents, and Matt will tell you, you have to give feedback.
I think Matt Bush will get to the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
I think he'll
already
get to the
know.
bottom of it for sure.
Well, I mean, let's just run numbers, right? So let's say it sells for $170, right? That's what, $550, $100 for
You want me to pull up my calculator?
Right.
So that's, I mean, a security deposit is a month and a half's rent. So at $2,000, you're basically buying it for the same as a security deposit.
Yeah. I mean, it's
So-
just like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, I mean,
And then you own something and you're building equity. Yeah. People talk about generational wealth. This is exactly what that is about.
Oh, and you have one of your friends move in with you.
yeah.
They pay half
Absolutely.
the rent.
Absolutely.
And you're covering everything and
that-
more.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and And maybe it's,
I quickly did some numbers. All right, 16,000. So buy a house for 175. Forget it. Buy that house for 175. 3.5% down FHA purchase.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just go down that road. 16,625 complete investment. Michelle gives you 10,000. You buy that house, you're out of pocket for 66.25.
Yeah, about
You
$6
just-
grand.
Maybe it's 6,500. You own a house for $6,500.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer right there. I mean, you gotta work these numbers.
What's the monthly on a number like that? then?
Well,
What do
I'll
you
come
have?
back to that. We'll go to another
It's still,
topic
with
here.
the premise, it's
Hey,
it's
but
less than
Mishta
rent.
with DPA is 6.375%. You
Yeah, I'll run
can't
the
get
numbers.
a mortgage with, you know what I mean, and get 10 grand at the same time
Harvey
for
will probably
6
be in
and
the
3
$1,500 area with
Right.
everything.
Yeah, I'll go there with you, but
again,
I'll cram it
yeah.
run real
and
quick.
rent in the neighborhood, you're probably paying $1,800 a
Right.
month. So like, why not just make the little bit of a stretch?
All right. The best opportunities often happen when everyone else is waiting. Today's market may not be easy, but prepared buyers, if you're prepared, smart homeowners, there's opportunities everywhere. That's the theme of our show typically. Give us a call, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're in our last segment. Always lots of fun here on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Of course, Matt Bush joined us today. Remax first, Matt.
Very knowledgeable.
Thanks for
Matt
another
is a
Remax.
very knowledgeable
Appreciate
realtor.
you, buddy.
That's
has
why I
great
have him on
information.
all the time. He's my
Well, and he works hard.
He does.
He's a hard worker.
Yep, and he's a smart guy.
Give us a call here on the show if you're thinking about home ownership. It's free to call 248-539-9797.
It's a Matt Bush love fest today. That's what it is.
Matt, when I
Lauren.
first met you, I knew you had that rental. This is
Yeah.
whatever, 5-6 years ago. You still got the rental.
Yeah, actually, today's my 4-year anniversary of my first rental. 'Cause, Lisa actually helped me buy a house in Royal Oak. That was my first rental.
Yep.
Okay, you don't have that one. One of them you
I
got rid
sold
of.
that. I
He
paid for
sold
my
that
wedding.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
met my wife today 4 years ago too. So
Well,
We were talking-
Hey, that's a little bit more important. You
Yeah.
better be lighting some candles or
right,
something.
we're going to Puma tonight. So
Yeah, these cities are everywhere. I don't care if you're in Monroe County. There's, whatever, French. There's always these small little cities and counties
Yeah.
that are great. They have walkable cities. Everything's coming back here in Metro Detroit. Everyone's rehabbing. They're knocking down some of the old, nastier homes, and you'll get a builder in there, and they'll put up a mansion.
We've got somebody buying a house in Detroit right now.
yeah.
But Matt, it also led to our conversation. Like, rents are way up, guys. Like, you can't throw away money. Home ownership in Metro Detroit is just a winner because, Matt, as you mentioned, that house our caller called about, that house would probably rent for $1,800.
Sure.
And with no garage. So he might get to that point where he throws in the towel and says, wait a minute, maybe I'll keep it
If
2
he's-
or 3 more years and I'll rent it out and see what I can do.
And if he's taking care of his mom, which is awesome, congrats to you, way to do the good thing. Maybe renting that out's going to be some side income while he's, taking care of his
Right.
mom, right? And then maybe in a few years, it's a better time, for him to, the house is appreciated, 5% over 3 years. That's maybe it's almost a $200,000 house in 2028, 29, right? So maybe that's a better position for him to be in.
Home sales have been remarkably stable, is what the NAR, National Association of Realtors, is always saying. You noted the leader over there, Mr. Yun, of course, noted that year-to-date sales are up 2.4%. Could you only imagine what happens and what will happen out there if rates come down to 6%, where they started to trickle down before the Iran conflict? But maybe we'll get there again next year. Maybe it's 5.5% or 6%. Maybe that's where we're headed, Harry. How busy would it be?
Having major conversations with people last night, and somebody said to me, Harry, rates are probably going to go down to 3 or 4%. I said, no. Let's put the brakes on that. We could see them in the next couple years, and it's going to take a long time. If they go under 6%, reach 5.5%, between 5.5% and 6%, there'll be a plethora of activity, refinance activity, new home purchase activity. People finally going to look to sell their house in that range.
Because so many
There'll be
people
more
are
buyers.
sitting because they got such low rates.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're waiting for 3-4%, you'll be waiting a long time. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you that.
Just
prepare for that.
Play the Powerball if you're going to wait.
Right.
If you're going to wait for something like that.
If
'Cause-
I'm wrong, I can live with that. Okay. If I'm wrong, then I'm really right. I like to play that hedge, Harvey.
But I mean, think
And,
about people have been saying this for a long time. I'm going to
Yeah.
wait. I'm going to wait. And last
Can't
year
wait.
it was going to say, we had NAR come out and say, the rates are going to go into the mid 5s, right?
No.
The year before that said the same thing. Has not happened. And I don't mean to be rude. Love NAR and real estate, but they don't do rates. They're not lenders.
No.
I hate to say, don't listen to them.
And right
don't listen
now-
to them. But
no, do not. NAR
they
is
have not
good.
been right. Their predictions the past 5 years have been dead wrong.
The Fed's going to meet in September, and there's upward pressure now
Correct.
on the Fed.
Right.
We're hoping they stay the same.
We're hoping they hold.
If they hold, that'd
Right.
be great, but there's upward pressure now. Go ahead.
All right, Harry, I was going to even jump in a little bit about my up north excursion. After 18 years, because we do the show every Saturday, I'm typically tied down with some sports over the weekend. I'm a boater. I don't have a reason to go up north, but I went up north for a wedding last week. Before I talk about...
Are you moving up north?
I am not moving up north, but it is unbelievable. Let's go out to Jeff from Beverly Hills. Hey, Jeff, are you like me? Did you go out and you want to buy a vacation home now or what? Jeff, you there from Beverly Hills?
I had a question about purchasing a vacation home. Is there anything you can recommend as far as anything to look for as far as mortgages? My first home's paid off, and I'm trying to determine what's the best way to go about buying a second home.
Well, I'm just going to jump here with this. Call us for sure because we are a mortgage bank and we have a special program for vacation homes, your second home,
And investment properties.
So, yeah, you'll definitely save a lot of money
It's
and we'll
called
reach
the
out to you.
PLS, and it's a private label security program. And in essence, you always get these quotes and you see all these points every time you get these estimates because Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have what they call loan level pricing adjustments that they charge when you're buying a second home or an investment property. And we have a program where those do not apply. So the rates are much more competitive. Not exactly like a primary house, or a tiny bit better, but they are so much better than anything you're going to find anywhere
Jeff,
else.
where are you going to buy it? Where are you
PLS.
thinking? Jeff?
Irish Hills.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I used to go up there all the time when we were headed to MIS here, believe it or not. Yes,
Yes.
I used to go to Michigan National Speedway in Brooklyn. You'd pass Irish Hills, and they used to have some really fun things over there. So you're looking on a lake or just to get away and get some acres?
Yeah, on a lake.
Yep.
Nice.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's
Give us
there's
a shout.
opportunities there. Yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely can get you set up.
I really think the PLS program is going to be your way to go.
So how far along are you, Jeff?
Great.
Have you looked at some properties? I'm just curious of what the market's like over there. Have you looked at any?
Yeah, only looking. Haven't put in any offers yet, but just maybe I'm doing it backwards. Maybe I should have got pre-approved first, but I'm looking, and just when I heard the show, I thought I'd call and ask if there was anything I should look for when it comes to a mortgage.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
definitely
give
run
you a
those numbers
shout,
for you.
and I'll run some numbers, and we can kind of show you the differences of what you can expect, and work on getting an approval. Because what'll end up happening is you'll find a place, you'll love it, and a whole bunch of other people are going to find it and love it too, and they're going to be ready to make an offer, and you still got to get your documents together to get pre-approved. That's how people miss out. So we definitely want to get your approval moving.
Thanks for
Great. Well, I look forward to hearing from you then.
Absolutely. Talk to you
Appreciate
soon.
it.
Appreciate that. And Jeff was, of course, calling in from Beverly Hills, not California, Beverly Hills, Michigan, which is an unbelievable city, of course. As everyone knows, most of Beverly Hills has Birmingham schools off the Woodward Corridor. And again, we talk about these other cities that border, these little pockets. Beverly Hills has picked up. If you at first you couldn't afford Birmingham, you just move over one block, and now you've got these beautiful. And the community had tons of ranches in them, and
A lot of
very
mid-centuries.
stable.
A lot of
Mid-century modern
a lot of
type.
acreage over there too. You get a lot of yard for
lot,
what
yeah.
that is over there, and then that kind of bleeds into the north part of Southfield.
Yeah,
It sure
well,
does.
leads into everything.
Yeah. Which is Birmingham schools as well.
Right.
Harry, you mentioned it, of course. I talked about it a couple weeks ago. I did go up for a wedding. Just unbelievable. I was out in the Petoskey Harbor Springs area, and I fell in love with Michigan again. All it takes is one trip to go up north. And it's hilly. I always forget the terrain itself, Harry. And then we were swimming in Lake Michigan. We found a private beach, a state park. I don't know. There's 50 people on the beach. Met some wonderful people. Maybe these
Harvey,
guys are listening.
That's how it happens. People go on vacation, or they go to weddings or events, and they go to a place that they don't normally visit, and then all of a sudden they fall in love with the area. They love it, and they want to get a vacation home there.
Yeah.
That's how this works. If you love it and you feel your vibe, and you know your people are there, and you can envision yourself spending more time there. And that's what you did. I mean, your eyes were opened, Harvey.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say they still got to work on a little bit of their restaurants and stuff, but there are some places to eat up there and everything. Look, it's a different thing. You know, I met a guy from L.A., and this guy had all sorts of money. And he said to me, Harvey goes, there's nothing like this. He goes, look, I live in he was telling me he lived in Brentwood, California, very exclusive, very expensive area. He goes, it's nasty. It's not pretty. He goes, up here, this is where you want to be.
There you go.
Again,
he found
Michigan,
his spot.
Up north of Michigan.
It connected with him.
There you go. And it connected with his wife. Happy wife, happy
yeah.
life. So he's like, Harvey, I'm happy doing 4 months here, and then I'll go back to California, which is gray and cloudy and smoggy. So anyways, welcome to Michigan. A lot of folks who listen to our show do want a piece of the state. Do we have a call up there? No, he's working on one. That's okay. Hey, Matt, tell me a little bit. We're coming up against the end of the show here. Just do you have anything cooking this week that we should know about?
Yeah, so I've got a great condo downtown on the water, beautiful views. It's got views of the river. It's got views of the city, 2-bedroom, 2 full bath, a private everything right next to Ralph C. Wilson Park. Right, it's got its own marina. It's got a swim pool. It's got a spa. It's got a fitness center. You can take the people mover right into downtown and back. So and it's got a bodega in there. So literally,
Sounds like an urban vacation.
You park your car in the lot that you have your own space, no additional cost, and then you never have to get in your car again. You can go anywhere you want in the city. Take the people mover to the Amtrak and get out to Chicago, Ann Arbor, whenever you want to be. But it's great. So it's
That's an amazing listing. Yeah. So
Riverfront Towers, 1001 West Jefferson, river views, city views, all updated on the interior, in-unit washer dryer. It's fantastic. So if you're looking for a Detroit condo, this is the one to come see. So give me a shout.
City's booming. Lots of restaurants down in Detroit for sure. And
so much good
museums.
eating.
I'll be down there
James
tonight.
Beer
I'll be
was just
downtown.
in.
Let's go. I'll be down there. Athenium Hotel. Got a little reunion going on. Come
Fun.
join us. Let's go. Go
I'll be
Bears.
downtown, too.
Let's
You're
go.
giving us a lot of hints. Did you guys have your 40? What is this?
Hey,
Your
hey, Huff,
50?
I'm not giving the number out, okay, bro? Just chill. You sit over there. He's over there.
Lions playing
All right,
noon.
cheers to the
Yeah.
class of 1976. If you guys
There
are all
you
listening
go.
out there, there you
Go
go.
Bears. Let's go, everybody.
All right. Hey, that's the end of our show. That came quick.
Come
Hey, I want
on.
to thank you, Matt. Thanks a lot. Matt Bush always joining us from Remax First. The best, Lisa Lawson, comes all the way from North Macomb County. For Harry Glanz, I'm Harvey Free. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We got Stony and Sports coming up next.